Hello, my dear English learners, and welcome back to English Active Listening. I'm Alyssa, and it's wonderful to have you with us again today. So, in our last few episodes, we've been talking a lot about vocabulary, about building a strong foundation of words to express yourself. But what if I told you there's something even more powerful than single words? It's true. Today, we're going to dive into the world of phrases. Those small groups of words that native speakers use all the time without even thinking about it. Think of it like this. A phrase is more than just the sum of its parts. It has a meaning that's bigger and more specific than the individual words. Using them makes you sound so much more natural and fluent. You won't just be speaking English. You'll be speaking like a native. We've all been there. In the middle of a conversation, you know the words, but you're not sure how to put them together in a way that sounds right. You might feel a little stuck, or like you're translating directly from your own language, which can sometimes sound a bit stiff. Well, today's episode is designed to help you break free from that feeling. We're going to give you 50 of the most common and useful phrases that will help you in all sorts of daily situations. We'll go through them one by one, explaining what they mean and how to use them. I'll even give you some examples, and then we'll have a chance to practice together. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's get started. Starting a conversation and making small talk. Let's begin with some phrases for, just getting things going. Starting a conversation can sometimes feel a bit awkward, but these phrases are your best friends. They're like the keys to opening a door to a new chat. The first one is a classic. How's it going? This is a super common and informal way to ask, how are you? It's friendly and casual, and it's perfect for almost any situation. For example, you see a friend at the coffee shop. You can say, hey, how's it going? They might reply, it's going well, thanks. How about you? Now, let's practice that. Try saying this out loud with a nice, smooth rhythm to it. How's it going? Now, for something even more casual, we have, what's up? This is a phrase you use with friends and people you know well. It's often used as a simple greeting, and you don't always expect a detailed answer. For example, your friend walks in. You could say, what's up? A common response is, not much, you? Try saying it with a relaxed, friendly tone. What's up? And speaking of friends you haven't seen in a while, number 3 is, long time no see. This one is perfect for that exact situation. It shows you remember them and are happy to see them. For instance, you bump into an old colleague. Oh, Sarah, long time no see. How have you been? Try saying it with a big smile. Long time no see. A little more formal than that is, it's good to see you. You can use this with anyone you haven't seen in a bit, and it's still very warm. At a family gathering, for example, you see your cousin. Hey, Mark, it's so good to see you. Let's practice that. Repeat after me. It's good to see you. And to follow that up, you might want to ask, how have you been? This is a great follow-up question after a greeting like, long time no see. It's a way of asking what's been happening in their life since you last met. For example, it's been a while. How have you been? Think of a friend you haven't seen and say it to them now. How have you been? Similarly, you can ask, what have you been up to? This phrase is more about what activities or projects someone has been involved in lately. You're catching up with a friend. So, what have you been up to lately? Give it a try. What have you been up to? And finally, for this section, we have, I was just about to. This is really useful for explaining what you were doing right before someone came up to you or called you. For example, your friend calls. I was just about to call you. Or, I was just about to leave for the store. Let's practice. I was just about to. Expressing opinions and feelings. Now that you know how to start a conversation, let's learn how to share your thoughts and feelings naturally. These phrases will help you express yourself clearly and confidently. The first one is a simple and clear way to introduce your personal thoughts on a topic. In my opinion, for example, in my opinion, the new movie was much better than the first one. Try saying, in my opinion. And if you want to be sincere or open about something, you can say, to be honest. This is often used when you're about to say something a little negative or controversial. For instance, to be honest, I didn't really enjoy the party last night. Let's practice that. To be honest. For agreeing with someone, you can use I think so too. It's perfect for showing you're listening and that you share their point of view. Someone says, this is the best coffee I've had all week. You can respond, I think so too. Now you try. I think so too. On the other hand, when you disagree but want to do so politely, you can say I'm not so sure. It's a soft way of saying, I don't think so. For example, someone says, that's the best idea for the project. You might reply, I'm not so sure. What about this other option? Practice that soft disagreement. I'm not so sure. And a wonderful phrase to use when someone says something that you hadn't considered before is, that's a good point. It shows respect for their idea, even if you don't fully agree. For instance, I think we should delay the meeting to get more information. You could reply, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Say it now. That's a good point. A very common and casual response to, how's it going? Or how are you? Is I can't complain. It means things are generally good and you have nothing to be unhappy about. How are things at work? I can't complain. It's busy, but good. Try it out. I can't complain. And when you're excited about something that is going to happen in the future, you can say I'm looking forward to. For example, I'm looking forward to my vacation next month. Let's practice. I'm looking forward to. Responding and giving feedback. Listening is just as important as speaking. These phrases will help you show that you're paying attention and that you understand what the other person is saying. The first one is a short, simple, and very common way to say, I understand. Got it. Someone says, so first you need to click this button, then that one. You can respond with a simple, got it. Try it. Got it. When you want to agree in a direct and sincere way, you can say, you're right. It's great for when someone has a point that you hadn't considered, and now you agree with it. I think it's going to rain later. You look outside. You're right. The sky looks really dark. Say it now. You're right. For an even stronger way to show you completely agree, you can say exactly. It's a great way to emphasize your shared opinion. Someone says, so the main problem is the timing? You can reply, exactly. Practice that with some enthusiasm. Exactly. Now, this next one is very conversational and informal, and it's a great way to show you agree with someone's complaint or frustration. Tell me about it. It means, I know what you mean. I've had a similar experience. For example, someone says, this traffic is just terrible today. You could say, Tell me about it. I've been sitting here for an hour. Let's practice that. Tell me about it. When you understand someone's point, even if you don't completely agree, you can say, I see what you mean. It's a good way to acknowledge their perspective. Someone says, I know it's a difficult decision, but I think the long-term benefits are worth it. You can respond, I see what you mean. Practice, I see what you mean. And when something becomes clear to you, you can use the phrase, that makes sense. It shows you've processed the information, and it seems logical. The meeting was canceled because the speaker got sick. You can respond, oh, that makes sense. Now you try. That makes sense. Asking for clarification and more information. Sometimes you need a little more information or you didn't quite catch what someone said. Don't be afraid to ask. These phrases are polite and helpful. A simple and polite way to ask someone to repeat what they said is, could you say that again? It's a little more formal than what. For example, someone says, the code for the door is 548. You can respond, sorry, could you say that again? Practice, could you say that again? When you understand the words, but you don't get the meaning behind them, you can ask, what do you mean by that? Someone says, we need to put a pin in that project. You might ask, what do you mean by that? Practice, what do you mean by that? If you missed something someone said, maybe because of background noise or because they spoke too quickly, you can use, I didn't catch that. It's a friendly way of saying you missed it. For example, did you say the meeting is at 2 or 3? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What time did you say? Try saying it. I didn't catch that. When you need more information or a deeper explanation about a topic, you can say, could you explain that in more detail? Someone says, we need to change the whole process. You can ask, could you explain that in more detail? Let's practice. Could you explain that in more detail? And if you need an example to help you understand a concept or a new idea, you can ask, can you give me an example? For instance, we need to use a more conversational tone. Can you give me an example of what you mean? Practice. Can you give me an example? And a good way to confirm that you've understood someone correctly is to use, are you saying? You repeat their idea back to them as a question. For example, are you saying we should start over from the beginning? Let's practice. Are you saying, wrapping up a conversation and saying goodbye? Ending a conversation gracefully is an important skill. These phrases help you do it politely and naturally. A common phrase to signal that you are ready to leave is, I should get going. For example, well, this has been great, but I should get going. Practice. I should get going. When you want to end a conversation with someone you may not know very well, a polite and friendly phrase is, it was nice talking to you. For instance, anyway, it was nice talking to you. Have a great day. Let's practice. It was nice talking to you. For a warm and friendly way to say goodbye, often used with people you know, you can use take care. For example, bye, take care. Try it now. Take care. And a more informal, friendly way of saying goodbye is I'll catch you later. This means I'll see you again soon. For example, okay, I'll catch you later. Practice. I'll catch you later. A casual and versatile goodbye that can mean have a good day, have a good night, or have a good time is have a good one. Someone says, thanks for stopping by. You can reply, have a good one. Let's practice. have a good one. And if you want to continue the friendship or connection, you can say, keep in touch. For example, it was so great to see you again. Let's keep in touch. Practice that one. Keep in touch. Everyday life and general chat. These phrases are the workhorses of daily conversation. You'll hear them everywhere, and they're incredibly useful for a variety of situations. The first one is, what a coincidence. You use this when two things happen at the same time by chance. For example, I was just thinking about you. What a coincidence. I was just about to text you. Practice. What a coincidence. Similarly, you can say, it's a small world. This is used when you discover you have a connection with someone you just met. Oh, you know my cousin too? It's a small world. Try it. It's a small world. When you want to say you're welcome in a common and friendly way, you can use no problem. Someone says, thanks for your help. You can reply, no problem. Practice, no problem. If you've just made a joke and want to show that you weren't serious, you can say, I'm just kidding. For example, you owe me $1,000 for that advice. I'm just kidding. Let's try it. I'm just kidding. For when someone shares good news, a friendly and supportive phrase is good for you. Someone says, I finally got that new job. You can say, good for you. Practice, good for you. And if you want to introduce a new but related topic into the conversation, you can say, by the way. It helps the conversation flow naturally. We were just talking about the project. By the way, did you see the new memo? Practice, by the way. Now, if you want to introduce a contrasting or different point of view, you can use. On the other hand, for example, the new phone is expensive. On the other hand, it has amazing new features. Try it. On the other hand. And to let the other person make the decision, you can say, it's up to you. Someone asks, should we have pizza or pasta for dinner? You can reply, it's up to you. Practice, it's up to you. Informal and conversational phrases. These phrases are the ones you hear in real, everyday conversation. They make you sound less like a textbook and more like a native speaker. The first one is to cut a long story short. This is used to get to the main point of a story quickly. For example, so to cut a long story short, we missed our flight but ended up having a great day anyway. Practice that. To cut a long story short. A simple way to let someone know you've started traveling to meet them is I'm on my way. Someone texts, where are you? You can reply, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Practice, I'm on my way. When you want to express disappointment or sympathy, you can say, what a shame. Someone says, they canceled the concert because of the rain. You can reply, oh, what a shame. Try it. What a shame. If something is not a serious problem, you can say, it's not a big deal. For example, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's not a big deal. We just started. Practice, it's not a big deal. And for an informal way of saying, I'm very tired, you can say, I'm beat. After working all day and then going to the gym, I'm beat. Try it. I'm beat. And if you have no money, a casual way to say that is, I'm broke. For example, can we go to the movies? I can't. I'm broke until payday. Practice. I'm broke. When you want to say, of course, or definitely, in an enthusiastic way, you can use you bet. Someone asks, are you coming to the party tonight? You can reply, you bet. Practice. You bet. If you need to wait until the next day before making a big decision, you can say you need to sleep on it. For example, this is a big decision, so maybe you should sleep on it. Practice, sleep on it. A fun phrase to use when someone you were just talking about suddenly appears is speak of the devil. For example, I wonder where Tom is. Tom walks in. Speak of the devil. Try it with some surprise. Speak of the devil. And finally, an informal way to wish someone good luck, especially before a performance or a test, is to say, break a leg. Someone says, I have my big presentation today. You can reply, break a leg. Practice, break a leg. So there you have it. 50 common English phrases that can truly transform the way you speak and listen. The key is not to just memorize them, but to start using them. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel. Don't be afraid to try one or two out in your next conversation. I hope this episode has been helpful and has given you some great tools to add to your English conversation toolkit. The beauty of learning a language is that it's a never-ending journey, and every little step you take makes you more confident and more fluent. That's all for today's episode of English Active Listening. Thank you so much for joining me, Alyssa. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back soon with another topic to help you on your language learning journey. Until then, take care and happy learning.